I felt so whole that I started to laugh. I was like having a big laugh and lots of emotions coming out, but I felt so connected, so whole, as if I was opening my eyes for the first time. Looking around, all I could see was beauty. I was in love with everything. I was in love with everyone. And that's the best feeling that I've ever felt in all my life. Hello everyone, this is Kevlan. I'm a healer and a teacher, and in today's video I wanted to talk about the heart, the human heart. And the reason is because we are going through this big transformation, the collective level, but also at the individual level, where we're all going from this survival center way of living into more heart space or heart-centered way of living. So I wanted to share some practices and techniques that have been helping me along my journey to really open this center, open my heart, and also share some experiences that I've had over the last month that's related to my heart opening. But before we jump right into those practices and techniques that have been helping me, I just wanted to go back a little bit and talk about the science and explain why science is finally catching up with ancient esoteric teachings or ancient knowledge shared by Egyptians or Greeks or Indians and so on and so forth, when they always put the heart at the center of human existence. The heart was always the master organ, was always a special organ related to intuition, inner wisdom. And I just wanted to go back and talk about the science just to show you that this is not woo-woo stuff, but actually the new stuff that we are only rediscovering now at the scientific level. So in 1991, Dr. Andrew Armour, discovered that the heart contains 40,000 neurons. And so it's similar to the brain, where we have neurons, all those synaptic connections. The heart contains 40,000 neurons, and he has called the heart the heart brain because of all the neurons. So basically what he discovered is that the heart can actually remember, can actually learn, can actually sense and make decisions by itself. And as a matter of fact, there is a communication between the heart and the brain via the vagus nerve. And in fact, science has shown that there is more communication going from the heart to the brain than there is from the brain to the heart. So the heart is really the master organ sending signals to the brain, and based on the signal it's going to send to the brain is going to produce hormones, chemicals, and is going to materialize, if you wish, whatever signal the heart is going to send to the brain. So if you feel anxiety, if you feel fear, then that's going to be the signal is going to be sent to the brain, and then the brain is going to produce cortisol, for example, but it's going to produce the stress hormones, which is going to manifest in our physiology, in your biology. So in addition to that, what was shown by science is the heart generates this big electromagnetic field. So what has been discovered is that based on the heartbeat or the rhythm of the heartbeat is not stable and varies throughout the day based on how we feel. So this has been measured by what we call the heart rate variability, or HRV, and now scientists can tell you based on looking by looking at the data, or by looking at the actual graph of the HRV, they can tell you what type of feeling you're actually experiencing. So what was shown is that depending on the emotion that we have, whether it's a lower frequency emotion such as fear, stress, anxiety, the heartbeat or the rhythm of the heartbeat will be very chaotic, very inconsistent. And on the other hand, when we feel this higher frequency emotion such as peace, joy, love, then the rhythm of the heartbeat will be very coherent. And when this is very coherent, so the heart is very coherent, it means the signal sent by the heart to the brain is very coherent, which in return the brain will be very coherent. So all this means that when we are in this state of higher frequency emotion, when we are in a heart space, when we can open the heart, science has shown that, first of all, we have this huge electromagnetic field around us that expand more and more as we open the heart. This field will just expand, and the heart will beat so coherently that the signal will be sent to the brain, and the brain will be able to think so coherently. So there is clearly a big connections, and what it means is also that everything else, all the organs will be very coherent, because all the signal will be able to reach every part of your body in a coherent way, and that's why we are in a state of healing, in a state of repair, in a state of relaxation. So this has been shown by science, and now what science has shown also regarding this big electromagnetic field, based on what we feel. So as I said before, when we have these higher frequency emotions, then our field around us will just expand because of the coherence of the actual heart beat rhythm. And on the other hand, when you feel contracting emotions, then our electromagnetic field will just contract, and the energy from the field will be used by the body to trigger the response, flight or fight. So it's not a time to think, it's not a time to heal, it's not a time to repair or relax, it's a time to contract and send all the energy into the extremity in order to fight or escape the danger or immediate danger that we are perceiving with our senses. So now science is really catching up with all those ancient teachings by showing that the heart is actually the center, the point of center of this electromagnetic field. And if you remember of a torus field that I shown in the previous videos, the center of the torus field is what we call the singularity, the point of oneness, where everything emerges from and everything is going back to. And in our human existence, the heart is actually the point of oneness. So it's actually the point of the direct contact with our higher consciousness or higher self. So it's really the bridge between the lower and the higher, and it's really the point of oneness where we can connect to this intuition, we can connect with this inner voice, with this guidance, wisdom. And this was known by ancient civilization, and now science is finally catching up with the fact. So now if I talk a little bit about certain practices that have been helping me to really expand and open the heart center, because the heart has really been the target in our human existence, because when we can shut down the heart, then we're just gonna leave. Because you have to see, when you look at our human body, we have the lower centers with the lower chakras, and then we have the heart, which act as kind of a bridge between the higher and the lower. And then we have the higher self, the higher chakras with the throat, the third eye, the crown, all connected to our higher existence and higher self. But when the heart is closed, we don't have access to it, because the energy will not be able to pass over to the higher, and will just stay in the lower. So the heart has really been the target based, and because of traumas, because of the way we've been conditioned to think and conditioned to believe, the way we've been brainwashed, the way we've been, all the fear that has been transferred and perpetuated from generations to generations has really contracted the heart center and really shut down the heart center. And that's the reason why we've been living our existence in the lower self, in our lower self, in our lower centers, in our survival centers. And we are in a time where a lot of people are actually experiencing healing, and healing is really about heart opening, is really about opening the heart in order to connect the higher and the lower and feel the point of oneness, where we can access this intuition, where we can access our soul. I like to call it our soul wisdom. So if I talk about certain practices, I would say that first of all, especially depending on where you are into your life, and based on what you think or how close the heart your heart is, we usually associate our emotions to certain events or certain circumstances. We've been trained to believe that external events or external world will dictate how we are supposed to feel. So if we are surrounded by love, or if we are experiencing good things externally, then we're going to feel good. If we're experiencing bad things externally, then we're going to feel bad. What we have to understand is the feeling or the emotion that we feel is not coming from outside of us. The emotion is self-generated. We are the one generating or producing those emotions. And we just find an excuse or a permission slip based on how we feel or based on what we're experiencing or what we're perceiving to generate certain feelings or certain emotions to match whatever our perception is of the external world. So I would say the first step is then to kind of organize your life, your environment, the way you live, in order to generate this inner peace as often as possible. Because at first we have a tendency, as I said, to associate our emotions to our external conditions. Then we need to organize our external conditions in order to self-produce or self-generate this inner peace as often as possible. So that will be my first practice, my first technique, and that's what I've been doing for years, is really creating this environment, this, whether it's at home or whether it's the people you want to be with. So starting to kind of like organize your life in a way that is going to help you generate or produce this peace or this happiness, this joy because of your external environment. So that's really the first step. As a second technique that have been helping me is gratitude, and it's nothing new by gratitude, but because we have a tendency to associate emotions to certain events, we have a tendency to say, hey, I will feel good, I will feel happy once I achieve this goal. Once I achieve this goal, once I get this, or once I become that. But the problem is, by setting those goals and say my happiness will only be, I'll only feel happy once I achieve this goal, it's like chasing the horizon. We have this horizon and we're like, oh, once I reach the horizon, I'll feel good. But once you reach the horizon, then you realize that there's another one. There's another one. So you'll always be chasing, and you will never feel the happiness because there is always another objective, there is another goal, there is another thing that you want. And that's the reason why a lot of people, they are never satisfied. They are never able to really feel this happiness even when they achieve the goal. And it happened to me. So instead of chasing and looking ahead, we need to look at the gap behind. We need to be looking back. What do we have accomplished so far? What goals did we achieve? What person did we become? And especially if we look at the last few years, and that will bring us satisfaction in a moment, because gratitude is all about feeling appreciation for whatever we've already done and accomplished. Even the little things, it can be, I have a lot of fruits or a lot of food in my house, so I'm gonna feel good about that. So it's really focusing on what you have instead of focusing on what you don't have or what you want, because it's gonna be really hard to generate or feel that satisfaction as you're chasing. So a practice of gratitude, whether in the morning or in the evening, will really help to feel the feeling. And again, the heart space is really feeling that joy, feeling the happiness, feeling the appreciation or that satisfaction within. So that's when we can start feeling, or we can start our heart expanding a little bit more. So having this gratitude practice in the morning or in the evening or at some point during the day will really help you generate this self emotion. Because again, love, we can produce and generate love anytime we want, because we are the one self-generating the emotion. So we just need to find little practice or little things to help us generate that emotion. Number 3, and that's what I've been doing, is meditation. Meditation really helps to find this peace within, to really practice mindfulness and realize that in that specific moment you're safe. In that specific moment there is nothing chasing me. there is no reason for me to feel anxiety or fear, because in this very moment, right here, right now, I don't need anything. I'm safe, and I can feel this inner peace. I can feel relaxed. And as we do so, we can move the energy from the lower centers into the heart area and start also seeing that heart opening more and more. And another practice that I also add with my meditation is the breathing. I like to practice this breathing because it really helped me to put my mind out of my body, to put my thoughts out of my body, and really be in the present, really practice as mindfulness, and really focus on moving all this energy from the emotional centers and just moving that up into the heart so that it could be acknowledged and then it could be healed. So what I've been doing is really taking a deep breath in, and by contracting all my lower centers, all my lower centers around my like my lower belly, my higher belly, and like my energy center is the first, the second, and third, like really contracting them as if you were trying to remove and take all the energy all the way up into your brain. So I've been really practicing this breathing technique to really squeeze all my energy, all those stagnant energy, stagnant emotion, really in the lower centers, and bring them into the heart so that they could be acknowledged, and then they could be healed, and then have the energy all coming up to my brain and my higher centers. So I've been practicing this one along with other type of breathing. It's not the only one I've been doing, but it has been helping me to really move all this stagnant energy. And the other practice is really about healing, and healing is really about letting go what doesn't serve us anymore, letting go all those traumas or those stagnant emotions, those trapped emotions that have been there for so long, that have been suppressed and repressed because we are afraid to face them, because it's hurtful, because it's not pleasant. But the role of an emotion is to be felt and released. And when we are actually trapping those emotions in our lower centers, this is where we are just blocking and clogging all our energy channels moving into the different part of our body, creating pains, creating physical issues, and shutting down the heart. So it's really about reconditioning our mind to think differently, reconditioning our mind to acknowledge that we have certain experiences that have been really hurtful, but they have served you to be the person where you are today. So healing plays a huge role into opening your heart. And the more you heal, the more your heart will start to open more and more. So that's kind of the practices I wanted to tell you, really creating this environment to associate or to help you generate this self peace or this inner joy by creating this environment. The gratitude practice, a lot of people have been talking about it, but it really helps. It really helps to have this feeling of joy and happiness once a day, and helping you really open your heart. Meditation and breathing really also help you move all this stagnant energy and make you acknowledge whatever you have to deal with and whatever you have to heal. And then the healing part is obviously the most challenging piece of the puzzle, but the most important, because the more you heal, the more your heart open, and the more you get closer to your soul and your inner wisdom and your inner intelligence. So just to finish, I just wanted to share a couple of experiences that I've had about my heart opening. And it happened to me at very random time. It happened to me twice over the last months, and very different time, very different environment, and it just happened just like that. And to me, is what I was trying to do is, I was just walking and walking in mindfulness, acknowledging outside nature, or even the second time was not even outside, but I was really trying to connect to the presence within. And as I was doing so, I was really present. I could really feel in the moment and feel at peace, feel relaxed. And I was even walking when I was doing so. And unexpectedly, my heart started to open more and more and more and more and more and more. And my heart opened so much that I had tears. And I felt the presence within that we have, that presence, that soul, that consciousness that is always here with us. So I connected to that. And I felt so whole, even if it was for 5, 10, 15 minutes. I felt so whole that I started to laugh. I was like having a big laugh and lots of emotions coming out. But I felt so connected, so whole, as if I was opening my eyes for the first time. Looking around, all I could see was beauty. I was in love with everything. I was in love with everyone. And that's the best feeling that I've ever felt in all my life. And when I felt that, I said to myself, even feeling 5 minutes of that feeling is worth 25 years or 30 years, 35 years of suffering, of hardship, of challenges. Because everything that happened to me in my life was to take me to that feeling. I don't know if I'm very clear, but what I wanted to say is this feeling is worth everything. And I couldn't, like, now that I've experienced it, I can't wait to experience it again. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it. Whatever you are, and that's what I've been saying to myself now, is when I have a bad day, when I have some emotions coming out, when I have some things I'm trying to heal, I've been saying to myself, it's just to get me closer and closer to that feeling. Because that feeling, it's so worth it. It's worth everything. It's the best thing I've ever experienced. And, I would go through everything I went through just to experience it again for 5 minutes. So that's how good I felt, how whole I felt. And that's our natural state of being. And I know all the work we've been doing to open the heart is to take us to that presence within, is to take us to that natural state of being, to that state of awe, to that state of wholeness. Because that's what we are, that's what we always been, and that's what we always will be. We just forgot about it. We just disconnected ourselves to that presence within. Anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to share with you today. If you want to know more about emotions and the heart, I invite you to check out my book on Amazon, The Science of Breaking Free. I left the link down below in the description. If you like the video, share the video with your friends and family. Add a little like in the button down below. And for now, I'll see you in the next one.